Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Dani Hazanif and I will be interviewing our Dean for CEL, Center for Language Learning in UTeM, Dr. Mohd Fauzi bin Kamarudin. Assalamualaikum, Doctor. How are you, Doctor?
Waalaikumsalam, Dani. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, I am fine. Okay, so
Looking chubby, Dani.
Oh, thank you, Doctor. been eating a lot, Doctor, recently.
Same here.
Malaysian food so tasty.
Yes.
Yes. So the reason we are here today, right, Doctor, is to interview regarding our special segment, which is called UTeM Merdeka Affairs 2021. Alright. So when it comes to Merdeka, right, Doctor?
Yeah.
What is the meaning of Merdeka to you, Doctor?
Oh, the meaning of Merdeka to me.
Yes.
I think currently the meaning of the meaning of Merdeka has evolved throughout the years. Actually, for me personally, while I was young, I remember Merdeka is a day that we celebrate as a holiday. There's no school during that day, and that early in the morning I will be asked by my parents to watch TV together with the family, looking at the marching band, looking at the soldiers marching, and that time it was really nice to see the cabinet ministers waving the flags.
Ada Dataran Merdeka, right, Doctor?
I don't think it was Dataran Merdeka. Back then it was at Stadium Merdeka, I think.
I see. Yeah, it was like how times have changed, right? Then
yeah, and then as I grew up, people started putting the idea of Merdeka is just not a holiday, but there is a meaning to it. And during my youth, people were saying that, especially during the time of Tun Mahathir, he would always say that Merdeka is about the generation after Merdeka needs to be the generation that brings prosperity and development to the country. And right now, I think Merdeka is very much, to me, Merdeka is very much about appreciating your country, understanding each other, moving together as a nation. I think at least that's the meaning of Merdeka for me.
Okay. So yeah, and then since we are having this year, we are having 64th anniversary of Merdeka, right?
Yeah.
So regarding that, right? So far, like, what is your pride about Malaysia? So when it comes to like when you meet someone probably from overseas, right? You have some international friends. When your friend will ask you, right, Doctor, what is Malaysia? Like, what is the best thing that you are confident, like super proud to tell to your friends, right, about Malaysia? Your pride about it.
So I think things that I'm proud about, about being a Malaysian, about Malaysia itself. I think first of all, definitely is because of the multiracial society that we have. I think, and when I say that, let's go to the second and third layer. It's about appreciating living in a society with the Malays. I'm a Malay, and with the Indians, with the Chinese, and when you go to Sabah, Sarawak, you will see these Ibans, Kadazan, and the rest. And I think this is something that is really special, very special, in fact. That no other country would have. Looking even at our skin, the different colors, and how we are able to mix, And sometimes, just to further appreciate that, I would usually ask my grandparents, what does it mean? And they would say, during the Independence Day, during those times in the 50s, they really appreciate each other living in a society whereby, to a certain extent, I remember my nenek, Nenek Tom, will tell me, she said that we really trusted each other, each race, to the extent that when they go to the market, they will bring along the daughter. For example, if there's a Chinese, so they will bring along the daughter of the Malay to go with them, because the Malay needs to go rubber tapping and sort.
Yeah.
So they were very united, and I think that's something that I think we need to appreciate. Besides, of course, the food.
Yeah, Malaysia food is very famous out there.
Yes.
True. It reminds me of like my father used to tell me because back then I was kinda like curious. My family is Malay, right? And then suddenly I have like my grand auntie who is actually Chinese. So I was like, Dad, how does this? How can this be like possible, right? And then my dad was like, oh, it was actually back then we were so close and all. My great grandfather were like really close, and then like he somehow become like the foster parents to my grand auntie right now, and now we're part of the family lah. We're already blend together.
Yes, and to that point, there's also a Baba blood in my veins.
Oh, Baba blood.
Yes, Baba, because on my mother's side, my granny is actually a Nyonya.
I see.
So ada muka Cina sikit ni. Sebab tu nampak iras-iras macam.
That's why super handsome, Doctor.
Oh. You're not only chubby but you're also handsome.
Don't lah, Doctor, letak malu lah, Doctor.
Right then.
Okay, so Doctor,
I wanted to ask the same thing.
Okay.
And in fact, when someone told me that I'm going to be interviewed, I want to ask the same to you.
Okay, Doctor.
The same question to you. Can you please answer?
The pride about Malaysia, right, Doctor?
Yes.
Okay, so when it comes to Malaysia, something that I'm really proud of, right? It's it's compared to when it comes to, first of all, it's like how Doctor said earlier, right? The unity amongst the multiracial unity, right? Yeah. If you compare that to, let's say, another country, probably like our neighboring countries like Thailand, they're mostly close to between among themselves, the Siamese people, right? So they're mostly only usually know their own race lah. While us, we have like Chinese, Malay, India, and then Iban, Kadazan, Singh, and all. Because of that, right, I actually grew up with lots of friends from different race. So because of that, we actually shared lots of nice things together. Obviously, the food is number one lah in Malaysia, right? And then one thing that I'm really proud of is when it comes to festivities. For example, when it comes to Chinese New Year, my Chinese friend usually will call me, "Hey, Danny, it's Chinese New Year," and then I'll be like, "Kongsi Fajai, right? Happy Chinese New Year." And then my friend will be like, "Danny, come over here lah. I have open house. Come over and eat so we can celebrate together, spread the love and unity together." So when it comes to something like that, it's something that most countries can't really experience because of their like how because of the lack of variety in their races, right, between the people. So
Danny?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so my next question.
Yes.
So if you become parents,
yes.
Yeah, what do you teach to your children relating to your experience just now?
Okay, regarding that, I will teach my children, right? I will tell them, regardless of people's races or what they do, what their religion is, they are still human like us, and they will be nice to you if you will be nice to them also at the same time. So that way is like win-win situation. Because of that, we will if we have that strong mindset, right? If everyone have that strong mindset, we will achieve. We will mention. How do I say that? The unity will be strengthened and reinforced all the time. So that way we will always be together, lah.
Okay, good. So my last question, Danny.
Yes, sir.
What is your advice to UTeM students for this Merdeka Day?
Okay, my advice for UTeM students this Merdeka Day, right? Okay, so nowadays we are actually stuck in pandemic, right, because of the COVID-19 pandemic, and throughout my whole experience in UTeM, right, during the pandemic, I noticed that actually some of my classmates, we have back then they weren't really close because like they have like their own gang. I mean, not really their own gang, like their own typical
They
circle,
hang out
right?
with the friends.
Yeah, their own circle.
Circle.
Yes. So because of this, I noticed we now start to communicate on WhatsApp and those online chatting platforms, right? I start to notice that my friend from like this Malay circle, we are starting to get close with the Chinese circles, and then we are getting close with Indian and all. Like we start to mingle together lah now. Like we talk. So my advice is don't be scared lah don't be scared to reach out to new friends, make new friends, regardless of the race again, right? Because I noticed that back then they were actually scared because they all shy. I'm too shy to speak to my classmate here. She's so clever and all. But because of that now, they all now easy lah. I see, for example, right? Not real name. I'm too shy to call them out. Right. Back then they were like too shy. I don't want Wei Jiang so clever. I'm too scared. Right now, I seen on WhatsApp group they will like, hey Wei Jiang, I don't understand on these 3D things. Like, can you help me out? And then it's like he's openly helping out lah, with no hesitation. So which is good. Yes.
Okay, so moving forward, Dr. Dani, if you can tell me, if you can cross through time, travel through time, who do you plan to meet, or who is one Malaysian that you really want to meet?
One Malaysian that I really would like to meet.
Yeah, if you can travel through time.
To be honest, I would love to meet our artist, our late Sudirman. I would love to see him singing all those pathetic songs again, like Tanggal 31. I would love to see it right before my eyes, the performance of him performing it. Yes, okay.
Thank you, Dr. Dani. I think that's all for our interview today. Over to you, Farah.
Okay. Alright. Okay. Doctor. Yeah, this one has been reversed. How the tables have turned.
That's good. I think what you have shared so far, I think is something that needs to be shared as well. Yeah, Dani? And inshallah, one day you'll become a doctor.
Inshallah. Thank you, Doctor.
Alright. Welcome.
Okay, so Doctor, we have a few more questions, Doctor.
Still want to continue?
Just a bit.
Okay, alright.
Alright, okay. Doctor, you mentioned food, right, in your answer earlier?
Yeah.
So I would like to ask you, what is the best Malaysian food, right, that you usually eat, Doctor? That you would like to eat with no hesitation, even though, like, let's say you already had like 5 of them this week, right? And then you end up seeing it again suddenly today. What type of Malaysian food that you will still eat? Yeah, like you love eating.
Okay. First of all, I come from Ipoh, Perak, and I really love mi kicap Ipoh.
Oh, mi kicap Ipoh.
Do you know mi kicap?
I heard of it only, but I never really eaten. So I would like to know more about it.
You got to try. You go to Hollywood. There's a food court there, a famous food court named Hollywood. So go there and ask for mee kicap or tau fufa.
Tau fufa. Oh, I love tau fufa, Doctor. Yeah. And then, yes, the question that you asked me earlier, Doctor. The last question, right? Last question for our interview today. I'm gonna ask you the same question you asked me earlier. What is your advice to UTeM student for this Merdeka Day, Doctor?
Okay. Okay, for this Merdeka Day, I think it's a good time for UTeM student just to stay at home, be safe, because we are in the time of pandemic. Okay, same time, do ponder on how we want to build this nation, and by the end of the day, it's all about nation building. It's all about preparing Malaysia for the next generation, for our children and the children's children. And so, because Malaysia have lots of potential, so if you go overseas and you see people around and you see where they are, I was there in Australia and a few times, went to a few other countries, and I say to myself, we have more potential than them. So it's all about the next generation, preparing the country for the next generation, and I'm sure the starting point would be to respect and understand each other, so that by the end of the day we don't look at each other by our color, by the color of our skin, but as Malaysian, and so that we are able to prepare the country and becomes the greatest nation in the world, inshallah.
Oh, Alhamdulillah. Doctor, that is very inspirational, Doctor.
Thank you.
Yeah, it made me feel like, bringing all my friends out, but then again, it's pandemic.
Yeah.
So,
So you have to spread the words, and goes by you being the model to everyone. Be a good model, and tell your children. I always teach my children, in our society, look around who's the most hardworking. Look around who's the most giving. Look around who's the most helping the community. And we need to emulate them despite of color. Inshallah, we'll make Malaysia great again. Inshallah.
Make Malaysia great again. Yes, Doctor. Alright. So with that, we conclude the interview session for our UTeM Merdeka Affairs 2021. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Welcome.
For setting aside your time, right, to join for the interview. And I hope that you will inshallah, right, stay safe and be happy all the time, Doctor.
And hopefully we can see each other face to face.
Yeah, hopefully we can see each other face to face
Soon.
Inshallah. Soon, yes. Next
Inshallah.
semester or something. Maybe we can go for mamak, Doctor.
Inshallah. Alright, Danny. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
My best regards to UTV. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Farah.